There is a war raging inside you, not a war with guns, not a war with soldiers, but a war that determines the course of your destiny. It is the battle between the voice that says, I can, and the voice that whispers, I can't. Between the self that hungers for greatness and the self that settles for mediocrity. Every empire that was ever built, every fortune that was ever made, every dream that was ever fulfilled began when someone won the battle within. If you cannot master yourself, you will never master anything outside of you. Look around. History is filled with men and women who were not the smartest, not the strongest, not the most gifted, but they had conquered the battlefield of their own mind. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb came to life. Henry Ford was ridiculed when he dreamed of an affordable automobile for every family. Walt Disney was told he had no imagination. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before he became president. What gave them victory was not luck, not circumstance. It was their refusal to surrender to the voice of defeat. The greatest prison in the world is not made of concrete walls. It is built from doubt, fear, hesitation, and excuses. And most people live their entire lives trapped inside it, never realizing that the key to escape is already in their hands. The key is discipline. The key is belief. The key is vision. Close your eyes for a moment and picture your own life as a battlefield. On one side, your doubts, your failures, your insecurities line up like an army, fully armed, ready to strike. On the other side stands the version of you that refuses to quit. The version of you that knows you were not born to simply exist, but to create, to lead, to inspire, to rise. The question is, which army will you feed? Which side will you strengthen every single day? Because the truth is, success is not something you stumble upon. It is something you decide daily. You decide whether you rise early to sharpen your mind or sleep in and waste the morning. You decide whether you speak with courage or let fear silence you. You decide whether you step into the fire of growth or hide in the comfort of safety. Every small decision, every choice, every habit is a soldier, either fighting for you or against you, and here is where most people lose. They wait for motivation, they wait for inspiration, they wait for the perfect time. But history proves this. Champions are not those who wait for the storm to pass, they are those who learn to dance in the rain. They don't ask, can I? They declare, I must. They don't see obstacles as walls, they see them as doors to be broken down. Carnegie once said, most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. And that is the essence of the battle within. Persistence when the world says stop. Resilience when the world says break, vision when the world says impossible. Look at your own life right now. Every excuse, every limitation, every reason you've told yourself why you can't achieve what you want. Those are lies your weaker self is feeding you. Lies designed to keep you small, to keep you average, to keep you living in the shadows of your own potential. But deep inside, you know you are meant for more. You feel it every time you dream. Every time you imagine the life you could be living. That is not fantasy. That is the voice of your higher self calling you to arms. But here's the truth. That higher self will not win by accident. You must fight for it. You must be willing to discipline your mind the way a warrior disciplines his sword. You must sharpen your habits the way a sculptor sharpens his tools. You must rise every day with the conviction that the battle is not over until your actions match your vision. Think of the men who built railroads across mountains, who laid steel across rivers, who lit entire cities with electricity. They were not superhuman. They were not immune to doubt or fear, but they had mastered one thing, the inner war. And because they won within, they conquered without. So I ask you, are you winning your war, or are you losing to laziness, to procrastination, to fear, to comfort? The world will never crown you for the battles you lose in silence, but it will celebrate the victories you create when you rise above yourself. Win the morning and you will win the day. Win the day and you will win the week. Win the week and you will win the year. And win enough years, and you will win a life that will echo for generations. This is where it all begins. Not with talent, not with luck, not with perfect timing. It begins with the decision that no matter what, you will not be defeated by yourself. Because if you win the battle within, you will win the world. The mind is a forge. Every thought is a spark. Every belief is a flame. Every habit is molten steel shaping the weapon you carry into life. If you allow fear to dominate your thinking, you are forging chains that will shackle you. But if you feed your mind with courage, discipline, and vision, you are crafting a sword that can cut through any barrier. The battle within is nothing less than the daily forging of your destiny. Think about this. Every empire that has risen, every fortune that has been built, every legacy that still stands, all began with a single invisible seed. That seed was belief. Not belief in the odds, not belief in the circumstances, but belief in self. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And he was right, because belief directs action, and action creates results. So many people are slaves to disbelief. They wake up every morning shackled by invisible chains. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I wasn't born into the right family. I don't have the resources. And what they don't realize is that history is filled with men and women who had less than them, less money, less education, less opportunity, but they had one thing greater. They refused to surrender belief. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, arrived in America as a poor immigrant child, working in factories for pennies. But he believed in the possibility of a better life so fiercely that he became one of the wealthiest men in history. Abraham Lincoln, born in a log cabin with almost no formal education, believed so strongly in freedom and unity that he changed the course of a nation. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Imagine if he had believed that. Instead, he held on to a vision of worlds that never existed, and then built them for the entire world to see. This is the truth. The world does not reward excuses, it rewards courage. It does not reward complaints, it rewards vision. It does not reward those who surrender to fear, it rewards those who rise despite it. But belief alone is not enough. Belief without discipline is like lightning with no direction, powerful but wasted. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you must become. Discipline is the soldier that wins the war when motivation has deserted the field. Because motivation is fleeting, but discipline is eternal. Picture the Roman legions marching in perfect unison, building empires stone by stone. They didn't march because they felt like it. They marched because discipline demanded it. Greatness demands the same of you. You will not always feel like rising early. You will not always feel like pushing harder. You will not always feel like training your body, sharpening your mind, or focusing on your work. But feelings do not build empires. Discipline does. You must learn to become the master of your emotions, not their servant. The man who only acts when he feels like it will always be ruled by the man who acts whether he feels like it or not. That is the difference between the dreamer who wishes and the warrior who builds. And understand this, discipline is freedom. At first, it feels like chains, waking up early, saying no to distractions, focusing while the world plays, sacrificing comfort for progress. But in the end, it is the key that unlocks the door to freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, the freedom to live life on your terms. Discipline is the price of freedom, and most are unwilling to pay it. That is why most live lives of quiet desperation, while a rare few live lives of glory. The battle within demands discipline of thought as much as discipline of action. You must guard your mind like a fortress. Every day, voices of negativity, doubt, and mediocrity will try to invade. People will project their fears onto you, telling you what cannot be done. The news will bombard you with reasons to be afraid. The world will hand you excuses wrapped in comfort, but you must be ruthless in defending your mind. Feed it only with vision, gratitude and clarity. Gratitude, yes, because gratitude sharpens the soul. It reminds you of what you have, even as you pursue what you want. Gratitude turns obstacles into lessons, failures into stepping stones, and setbacks into fuel. A grateful warrior cannot be broken, because he sees every trial as training for the greater war ahead. Do not underestimate adaptability either. The world is changing faster than ever. The men who built empires centuries ago built them with steel and stone. Today, empires are built with ideas, with technology, with creativity. If you cling to the past, you will become obsolete. But if you adapt, if you remain a student, if you learn and evolve with every season, nothing can stop you. The bamboo survives the storm because it bends where the oak breaks. Be strong, but be adaptable. And above all, cultivate resilience. Life will test you. It will knock you down again. And